It's time to rendezvous with cassidoo. Boo! Hello, and welcome to Rendezvous with Cassidoo, which is my weekly newsletter, and this is the video form of that, where we talk about web dev, we talk about practice coding, we talk about what I did this week, we got a joke, and more. I'm Cassidy. Let's get into it. So first of all, this quote, set realistic goals, keep reevaluating, and be consistent, I think is very good from good old Venus Williams, who is not my cousin. Shocker. Anyway, I thought this was a really good quote because I think it's good to kind of do like regular audits of the things that you do in life, whether it be work-related, life-related, money-related, whatever. It was a good week. We got some good links, and we'll get into it. So first of all, this contrast color one, I am so excited about this. Long story short, it is a function in CSS that returns black or white depending on the contrast of something, which is amazing. And so if you have like a label that's white and you want the text to be black, but every other label is like a darker color and you want those to be white or something, you don't have to just like have a one-off class for it. It just does that contrast for you. I'm thrilled. It's very exciting. The next link is a guide from Lori Voss, who was one of the co-founders of NPM, and it's called Stuff Everybody Knows. I thought it was kind of a silly title, but it's literally stuffeverybodyknows.com, and it's really just being a web developer. And I thought it was good, where a lot of this guide was written a long time ago, 2014 or so. Not all of it, but a lot of it. But there's a lot of evergreen advice in there, things like being mobile first and just data on how websites are made. And then there's also some like AI elements in there as well. And I thought it was a really good practical guide to check out. This next link is Comprehension Debt from Adi Osmani, and it's talking about how with AI generated code, you're getting all of these new features. It's very exciting, but because the humans aren't writing the code, the depth of understanding of that code is different than it normally would be. And this is the hidden cost that the article is talking about, where if your team isn't the one writing the codes, then the comprehension debt starts to grow more than the technical debt itself, because you don't actually know what's going on behind the scenes. And it is an extreme example, but that is a risk that you have to think through when you have way too much AI generated code. And this last article is from Ryan Carniato, who is the maintainer of Solid.js, talking about React design choices that you might not like as a developer in general, especially if you're not a React fan, but you can't really avoid specifically deferred state and the dependency array and effects. This is a deep dive that goes into why these are unavoidable, what is going on behind the scenes in various frameworks, and why you can't avoid them in general, and it's a good look. Now, for something that interested me this week, you might notice this camera view is different than normal, and you might not notice, that's totally fine. But anyway, changed my entire camera setup and changed my entire PC setup. So I got a new CPU, motherboard, got some RAM, couldn't afford my mortgage, and a new GPU, which has been very exciting, has made video editing way faster, and I'm excited to see how this baby runs with live streaming and stuff too. It's been kind of a pain to get everything set up. I streamed last week for maybe 20 minutes because I couldn't do much. Again, lots of configuration to fix, but it's going faster. It's nice, and my old camera died. This is it. It's gone. So this is my new camera setup now, and I'm liking it. It's pretty good. So anyway, if you want to learn more about any of this, I actually wrote this notes for my future self on how to set up a camera for streaming, specifically because I completely forgot how I set up my old camera, and because it fully died on me, I couldn't look at my old settings, so I had to do some research, and after messing with it a ton, I just wrote down every single setting I changed, all the framing things that I did, everything, where like, this is the old look, this is the new look. Anyway, that is my blog post on that. Now, this past week, I also recorded this video about using GitHub Copilot's agent mode to solve some open source issues in my app To-Do Meter. If you haven't seen To-Do Meter, it's a desktop app that's a glorified to-do list with a progress bar. You can pause tasks, check off tasks. It's simple. I've worked on it for forever. I think I first released it in like 2016, 2017, and so it's been a long time, and there were some old things that I just needed to update, and I had been dreading it. And then I remembered these tools exist, and one of the issues I solved was literally almost a decade old, and I was thrilled. And this video is just kind of me going, it works, and talking a little bit more about that. If you'd like to download To-Do Meter, it is on my GitHub, and I am still making some updates to it, but you can either build it yourself or wait for the next release that I'll cut, hopefully soon. And now it's time for our sponsor. Mux is video infrastructure for developers. When you upload a video to Mux, you don't just get playback, you get building blocks like transcripts, storyboards, thumbnails, and clips, all ready to feed into whatever you're building: search, summarization, content moderation, or anything else you can dream up. Mux is also behind Video.js, the web's most popular open source video player. Video.js v10 is a full architectural rebuild, and the beta is available right now. It's worth checking out at videojs.org. Patreon, Substack, and Cursor all trust Mux. Get started free, no credit card required at mux.com. Ad. And for the interview question of the week, I had you get distances to fire stations last week. Good job to everybody who did it. I did have a typo. This is why I do not handwrite examples when I'm too tired, or at least I shouldn't, but I did. Anyway, I fixed it in the archive. But anyway, this week's question is I don't know if it's pronounced BITAP or BITAP algorithm, but it's a fuzzy search algorithm. So the question is to implement that algorithm. Given a text string and a pattern, you implement the fuzzy search string, and it finds all positions in the text where the pattern matches with at most k errors, which is insertions, deletions, or substitutions, and return an array of objects containing the position and the number of errors at that match. So for example, if you want to search for the word cat, it is at position 4 in that first text, and there's no errors in that. If you try to find cool with no errors in the word cassidoo, you can't. Dang it. Anyway, you can submit your answers on social media or drop a comment here or reply to the email wherever you'd like. I hope you have fun with this one. I thought it was a cool one. And finally, for some cool things around the internet, this first one is the day I discovered type design. This is an artist who is really into fonts, and I do love fonts myself, and it was really cool to not only read about like the history of type design a little bit, but just looking at how this letter A is formed and how they kind of started with graph paper and then ended up going deeper from there. It was a really cool article. I'm going to stop scrolling so you can read it yourself, but I really liked it. This next one is from the Chicago Public Library. They have a digital collection of just tons of different things, from games to toys to, this one in particular, sheet music. And I thought it was really cool to see some of the like art and graphics on some of the sheet music that they have, and it talks about how some of the sheet music is preserved, just some more details about it. It was really, really cool to see just how well these are preserved. And I love seeing things where people preserve history and people preserve art in different ways, because you can learn a lot from it and be inspired by it too. This next one is a collab keyboard from Canon Keys, and I think it's pronounced functional.co. But anyway, they made this wooden 65% keyboard, and it's gorgeous. Oh man, it's a little bit out of my price range, I admit, but whew. I love seeing the mix of the maple wood and the walnut wood, and the keycap set is a GMK keycap set called Ursa. It looks so nice. And this last article is basically about FOMO in the tech industry and how you don't necessarily need to be on every single hype wave, because it's very easy to feel like, oh no, if I'm not here, I'm going to be left behind and I won't be able to catch up in terms of AI, or there was once a point where it was probably crypto. There was once a point where it was probably VR. There were various hype waves that they talk about in this article, and you never know which things will like bubble to the top and stay, and which things were a part of that hype wave and then go away. And I thought this article was a very good reminder of that. And then finally, this joke emailed in by Linnell. What do you call a pig who does karate? A pork chop. Okay, anyway, that's all for now, folks. Be safe, make good choices, and do some jumping jacks. Did you know that if you do 50 in the morning, which I know is a lot, but it's just jumping and flapping your arms, it can improve your entire mood for the day? You should do it. Gets the blood flowing. Do some jumping jacks. Bye!